Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today, I just wanted to do another little, yeah, this team is really powerful kind of video, using Raphael Velzard and the skill-fused Treyni. I'm fairly certain that by the time this video goes up, Treyni's skill fusion video will have already released, and, we can see that in her own little showcase. But here, I didn't have Defense Battle available when I did her showcase, and so now that she is skill fused, we can take her in, and we're going to prove that her usefulness is high on a defense team by going into Defense Battle with just this team. That's it. We're going to go into Inferno Defense Battle with Raphael, Yom, and Treyni. Now, we already know that Raphael makes this almost a joke, because it just cuts their attack, it cuts their crit. Now, because they do have just a really, really high base attack stat, especially Father Midray, he's got 20k attack base, and then he can't raise it anymore, and Milim gives him like crit and crit damage and everything, but having 20k attack base is not something you can seal. He's gonna have really stupid high attack, which means that even if he's sealed, even with physical resistance up, his ult is still doing like 11k, which is a hefty chunk of damage. So in order to cut that down, we can bring Treyni, who will, after her skill fusion, cut ult damage by 50% right here for 3 turns, which means you can have this active on turn 3 and then forget about it, because it's a cheap skill. And it lasts for 3 turns, and means you're covered for their nuke on turn 4 and turn 5. So this is a fire and forget kind of thing. The Pierce power has no bearing here, but this is going to make you take much, much less damage. And then we're going to bring Kaijin for funsies, because his trait, when the enemy activates an ult, decreases all targets' attack by 9% for the next turn. So they're going to ult you on turn 4. And then this trait will activate on turn 5, which will cut their attack down by 9%, which means that they'll hit slightly less as hard on the final turn than the 4th turn. So I did already pre-record this, though, because I did it last night at like 11 o'clock and I didn't want to talk, so I just wanted to wait until today to do this. So let's make a cut and let's bring that video up. Oh, also, as a side note, we're using, free-to-play or, OG 4-star Sunwolf units as the supports, because they do give us that extra defense buff. So Sufi is giving that 27% stat buff, so we get extra defense and extra HP, and then both Yom and Gobta get it, so that's why they have higher stats, and both Traya and Treyni have that as well. So it does help us, just tank a little bit better. Now, we only have one orb changer, which can be a problem, but, I mean, with as much defense as we've got going on, it really is not an issue. Like, we only have 3 orbs, we have the availability of having 6 orbs to send on, every turn, and we have a healer, so we can heal back a lot of the damage we take. So we're just going to send these 2 oranges, pray we get a good hand, which we do. Now, Raphael still took a decent chunk right there off of 2 hits. So we're going to orb change into 6 green, and then next turn we'll have a lot of points available to us. Having Velzard is inconsequential, right? Because we don't need Vengeance counterattack. We're only realistically going to use a few skills one time, and then we're going to, forget about them. And they really hate Raphael, so she's looking real bad here. But now's turn 3, so we can go ahead and use a heal and the ult resistance up. At least I think that's what we do. Yeah, so we're going to guard, we're going to heal, and then we're going to put the ult resistance up now, so we're covered the next 2 turns. So go ahead and pop that. We'll heal Raphael a bit. Yom will be up to full HP, and then there's that ult resistance buff on us right here. So 1-1, whatever, damage is inconsequential. Now we're guarding, and now they've got crit, so we couldn't seal their crit here, but we did have the guard up. So now we have 36. Now we can keep them sealed for both this turn and next turn. We've got ult resistance up. The type neutral thing doesn't really care about our ult resistance here, but we're going to send this, and then on the following turn, they'll have an ult debuff, or an attack debuff, because of Kaijin's trait. So here, Milim does 5,000 against Yom, and then mid-ray does 6,400, and then his AoE does 3,000. But you saw, like, if we go rewind here, after Millam's ult did, what, 5,000 damage? So yeah, 5,003, and then her follow-up orb did 4,005. So because of that extra ult resistance on Treyni, we were able to cut Millam's ult damage down to just like 1,000 more than what her normal orb does, which is crazy to think about. So we'll go ahead and, we've watched that already, but now that the turn is over, turn 1, now they have this attack debuff here because they ulted, and now they have an attack nerf, which means that their ults are going to get hit, or they're going to hit even less because we still have the ult resistance, they are still sealed, and we don't have anything, so we're just going to send the one orb and call it good, because I don't need to use Vengeance, I don't need to use Velzard at all. So there's the one orb, and now Millam's ult does 4,285, even less. And then 3,300 there, and then mid-ray does 5,400, and then his AoE does 2,500. So we definitely took advantage of every single skill available here, except maybe the physical resistance on Yom. But it allowed us to just survive using 3 characters. 2 really, really good characters, a really good free-to-play option, and then an OG unit that got a pretty efficient skill fusion. But, I mean, if you're going to run a defense-focused team, and the guard, Raphael's guard does not protect you against ults, right? It only protects you against normal orbs, or follow-up attacks from, like, Murin or something. The ult resistance from Treyni is going to help you tank literally everything now. You have all your bases covered. The guard will help against normals. The physical resistance will help you a little bit against everything. The ult resistance will help you against ults. You have a healer now, and you have an orb changer. You have 2, technically 3 vengeance units, so you could put, Aaron in the back for an orange orb change with the extra crit defense as well. And then you could put, like, Wind Valentine for another converter and another healer, or you could put, Wind Beldora for the other dedicated orange orb converter. You could put Isis back there. You could put Rain back there for the magic buff and the green orb buff. Like, you could do a lot with these last 2 slots, but these 3 are going to be pretty much mainstays on any defense team moving forward if you have the ability to skill fuse Treyni, because she will just help you out immensely as far as tanking is concerned. So that's the only thing I wanted to show today. There's nothing else special about this, just the power of having a 3-turn 50% cut to an ult damage is just hugely important when you combine it with this very turtly, tanky, but also high damage team. It's pretty much invincible at this point. So I really, really like this team. I placed Raphael very, very, very high on the tier list. Velzard and Yom also got very high marks. The next tier list will be changing things up. I will be moving Treyni up, guaranteed, but that won't happen for another month. But that's it, guys. I just wanted to show you the power of having good defense is the best offense, right? Especially in this case. So that's it for me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.